Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're here on this video, you are interested in potentially moving to the Coopersburg area. Today in this video, we're gonna go through the Coopersburg area, talk about some of the price points, go look at some houses, and just get a general feel for the area. Today, right now, I am at the Southern Lehigh Living Memorial Park. It's a great little park to be in for your, you have your kids here. There's one, two, three, four baseball, I think four baseball fields here. There's a lot of, I always see a lot of baseball happening here, whether it's Little League or I believe they play high school games here as well. This is for Southern Lehigh School District. There's also a lot to do just for kids in general. We have their pool over, and they got the pool over this way. They have in the back there, that's the Inside Scoop over there. Great ice cream place to go to. Definitely one of my favorites, actually. One thing about them is when you get ice cream there, you could have any of their ice creams as soft serve, which my wife doesn't think that's as big of a deal as I do, but I think that's awesome. They can make any ice cream that you want soft serve. Definitely a favorite of mine. They also have a park here that's really nice. It's kind of in the back there near that pavilion. One thing about this park that my oldest son, he absolutely loved when we came here, that's different than a lot of the other parks, is they have this slide. And if you remember, when I was a kid, they had these, they're like metal slides, basically, very steep slides. Today you see mostly the plastic slides. They're colorful, they have twists in them, but they're not extremely steep. This slide that they have here is extremely steep, and my son loves it. He wants to go up and down and up and down and up and down. But as a parent, it's kind of a little dangerous because it's kind of high. So it's kind of a pain, but he absolutely loves it. One other thing about this park that I actually really don't like is if in the back here, you can't really see it, but this is 309. Like, you could run right onto 309. I mean, it's a far run, especially from the park area. I mean, I highly doubt your toddler would run that far, but it is right there. You get a lot of traffic noise. There's a couple of gas stations nearby. There's a Giant right next to Giant's is our main grocer in the area. A couple other little things in the area. You can go. It's an easy commute down to Quakertown, up north to the rest of Lehigh Valley. But they have a few pavilions. Overall, it's a nice little park. One thing about the Coopersburg area is it's small, but they do a lot of things right outside of Coopersburg as well, that you could easily go to. One thing that they're having this September, and I'm actually really excited about it, I think it's their first ever, but it's a free bubble festival. And I had never heard of this before, but I'm actually really excited to go with it with our kids, because they obviously love bubbles. But I'll put it in the description below if you're interested in going to the Bubble Festival. If you're in the area already, check it out. I definitely encourage it. But yeah, so like I said, in the video, we're going to go through the rest of Coopersburg. We're going to take a look at the downtown area. We're going to go look at some different houses and different price points. And I hope you enjoy. How's it going, everyone? As promised, we're back out in Coopersburg, and we're in the downtown area here. And just kind of wanted to give you guys a feel of what it's like to be in the downtown area of Coopersburg. And I say downtown, this is kind of like the city, the neighborhood center. You got a bunch of little shops here. You have a burrito place right there, actually AD's Kitchen, really good for burritos. This is kind of like the little main hub of the area. If you're walking around, you want to walk around, you go to some of the local shops. There's ice cream place. They have breakfast, lunch, dinner. Good Jake's, a restaurant around here as well. They get good reviews. You have the banks here. You have the dentistry, and a couple other little things in the area. Now, Coopersburg, if you remember from the last video, median annual income about $64,000 a year. Average home price is about $400K. And we're going to go around to a couple of the different properties in the area and see what you can get, just at different price points. But just in general, Coopersburg I like. just because one of the walkability. A lot of the Lehigh Valley towns, in general, the little neighborhoods, you can't walk from what I call the microhood to microhood, and that's just kind of a term that I use around the areas, the microhoods, because there's a lot of they're almost like on an island. A lot of the towns in the Lehigh Valley. Whereas when I was growing up in a little town called Old Forge, you could basically walk from town to town to town to town. They're a couple miles apart, but you could just walk right to them if you want. And you could walk in and out of the neighborhoods and kind of go meet up with your friends. And Coopersburg kind of has the same vibe. Just so you know, an idea, this is the town's the center. They got their bowl there, and you kind of it's got a much more of a walkability feel. My wife would call it a runability feel because she could run. She likes to run around the neighborhoods. And in my town in Lower Saucon, which we'll go over in a separate video, it's not really that walkable or runnable. You have the trails, of course, but it's not like Coopersburg. There are expansive areas where you'll have long distances between larger developments with more valuable homes, which we'll go through in some of the home values. The school district for the area is Southern Lehigh, one of the better school districts in the state as far as rankings go. They're ranked 37th. One of the measures that they have in these ranking systems is college readiness score, and Southern Lehigh is consistently always above average. They have fairly good demographics as well. You get a lot of opportunity for sports. There's other involvement that you get in as well. But overall, Coopersburg, has a small town feel, and you're very close to 309. So I mean, you're literally like a quarter mile away. So if you need to go down to Quakertown, or if you need to go up north towards the center of the Lehigh Valley and get on 22 for work or your commute, it's very easy to get on 309. So definitely very commutable to where you need to go. But let's go take a look at some of the properties in the area at different price points, just to see kind of the values and where you would stand on based on what you would need and your requirements. There are different levels in Coopersburg, and there's a lot of different home values that would be right for you. There's a lot of variation here as well. So let's go take a look. All right, guys, so we're at our first price point. I wanted to get some homes in the price points around 200,000 to about 400,000. This neighborhood specifically, probably neighborhood of 300,000. So right in the middle, really. But you get houses mixed in and around that are either more expensive or less expensive. One thing that I noted is there are sidewalks. Something that I'm really happy to see. There's not many sidewalks in my town and a lot of the other towns in the Lehigh Valley. It's just kind of annoying to me, especially with kids. But in this type of neighborhood, you're looking at, one car garage, two car garage, about 1,800, 2,200 square feet. You get a lot of ranchers, probably 3-bedroom, 2-bath typically, and generally nice neighborhood, close to the town center. It's very walkable, bikeable, runnable. It's quiet, and you're really not that far away from a lot of what the area has to offer. You're not too far from school. You're not too far from 309. If you have a commute that you need to get on 309 for 78, you're not that far from. So overall, it's a nice little spot to be in. So if this is your price point, this is kind of what you could expect to see when you're looking at homes in this area. All right, guys, so now we're at our next price point for homes. This is around 600 to 800,000 typically. And what you're going to see is basically you're looking at way more land, significant more land, typically an acre at least. And the homes are usually about 4 or 5 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bath. Not typically new homes. A lot of times they're not brand new, they're slightly dated, but still very nice. Definitely wide open space. You have dogs, you got kids, a lot of room here. But again, now you're getting a little further away from the Coopersburg center of the town, And again, it's just generally a little bit further to get places. It's a little less walkable, but it's a very nice area. Obviously, I love the wide open spaces. I love how quiet it is. I mean, out here, all you hear is really nature. Definitely quiet nights out here. So let's go to our next price point, and we'll see what we get. All right, guys. So now, if your budget, you're looking at a home valued to $1 million, million plus, maybe 1.2, 1.1 to 1.5. You're coming into this, upper echelon of homes here. Typically newer built, typically on usually an acre to an acre and a half. 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 5 or 6 bathrooms. Uh, Again, typically newer built in Coopersburg. Um, Definitely more modern, and as you can see, landscape is pretty pristine. Usually, everything's you know pretty fancy, really. Um, and really, once you start getting above that price point, you're getting into really the luxury listings in the area. Now, one thing to note when you're looking at listings, of this price range, you're typically going to be further outside of the Coopersburg center city where we were initially looking at the initial Main Street restaurant area. Definitely less walkable, but at the same time a lot more country. So I mentioned my wife is a big runner, so if you wanted to run around here, you have a lot of road to run on. It's not very much traveled, and you'll have those available to you. But typically, this is what you're going to see for $1 million to about $1.5 million in the Coopersburg area. So that wraps up the property tours.